Hello. So I was busy for a while, but I'm back now. And today we'll discuss again about a question. There are quite a few questions, so I'll keep continuing discussing about those. We'll be talking about how you hyperlink to a page from a report in Central. So without wasting much time, let me open my VS Code and we'll get it from there. Okay, that's where we are. So this repo, it's available in GitHub. What I'll do is I've already created a folder called hyperlink a page from report. Inside that, there's a report folder. Let's start adding a new report using the wizard ALAZ extension, and let's create a report. Let's call it as a STH item list, and it comes from, let's say, item table, just to keep it simple. Let's place it into report analysis, and let's pick some fields. Let's say number. Okay, and then let's choose number two. And for hyperlink, also let's use inventory, and then let's use description. Okay, and let's take some dimensions into it. Okay, so here is the report that has been generated. Let me correct its name. And so, okay, so now we have the report. We have set the application area uses category and all, and we have also defined some page. We will not use request page right now, but if you need, you can have it. That's not a problem. Now, first let's keep it simple and let's try to do a URL on item number field. For that, let's add a variable called item URL of type text. And then to generate the URL, let's use the trigger so that we can then generate the URL of it. So every time we get a record, we will call the on after get record. So let's do a on after get record. Using this, we'll try to fetch URL for item page. Now, as I keep on saying on most of the videos, you should know where Microsoft is using it. If you don't know, in the base app, there is something called as, if I'm not wrong, notification dispatcher. I guess it should be a code unit or a report. Let's try code unit. Notification management or entry dispatcher. Okay. In this is used for sending out notifications from Business Central. If you notice on the approval emails, you get a URL which then lets you log into Business Central. In the same way, somewhere here, Microsoft should have the code to generate URL. So let's search for that. Okay. Okay. There should be a method called get URL. Let's see. Okay, here it is. So based on this, the nav or business as a client generates a URL. This is a method. It takes certain parameters. So we'll keep referring this while we're building this URL. So let's try using this method here, and let's call it as that we are getting our item URL from a method called get URL. Now if you look at it, it says I need the client type, I need the company name, what object you would like to hyperlink it to, what is the object ID that you would like to link it to, which then the next is a record that you would like to use, and then are there filters or not, and then there is also an overload for it. So let's try checking what the overload look like. So this is what we have looked on, and this is the other one which says client type, company, object type, object ID, record ref and use ref filter. So let's try setting up initial variables and then we'll set other things. So the first thing that it needs is a client type. So let's just use the variable client type, and our client type is web. But I guess if you just want to make it default, then use a default. Whatever is your default client is, I'll use. Next parameter is company name. So let's do the company name so that it remembers which company to open. The next one is object type. So let's use the object type as page, and then the page ID. Now, there's one way that you can statically say that, oh, I'm looking for item card for this, but let's look at here how Microsoft does it. So they say that there's a code unit called page management. Inside that, there is a function called get page ID, which takes the, let's see what it takes. So let's copy this page management as it is. Define it here, and we'll try to use page management dot get page ID. Okay, let's look at it, what it does. So it requires a variant of the record that you want to pass, and then based on that variant, it will give you the page name associated based on the properties on your extension. So it's always best to use this so that you get the right page ID that you need. But this then requires you to pass it a variant, which can be a record ref or a record ID. Now to do that, I'm pretty sure Microsoft would have done something. And okay, somehow that notification code unit got closed. So we'll just keep on referring that code unit just to keep it simple. Okay, is this the one? I'm not sure. Okay, there it is. So it says that there is a method called get target ref, which then is a local variable, which is used to get the record ref based on a code unit called data type management. We'll utilize this so that you can get the data type management. It's a code unit. Okay. This code unit allows you to pass data and then a record and then gives you the record ref. So let's do a data type management dot get record ref. The get record ref needs a variant and then a result record ref, which will return it. Okay, so this will be returned when you pass a record to it. Okay, so we can pass the current record, which is item. And then the return, what we need is a record ref. Let's say item result record ref, which is of type record reference. This will be returned from this calling method. At this point, this should get filled in with this. Now, if we look at it, after this gets returned, it does a filter check, otherwise it sets the filter. Let's just follow that as it is. Our variable is this. So it just sets the filter that are set on that object. Okay, so now we have the record ref, which we can pass to here to get that get page ID. So once we have the get page ID, let's look at the last record things that we have, the parameters thing. The next one is the record of the table, which in this is one, and then the other one wanted a record ref, so we can just utilize this as it is. And then the last but not least is use filters, and to say yes, we would like to retain the filters in the when the URL is built. So with just this one line of command to get the URL, the variable item URL will hold the value of the URL that you need. Now to make this available in Visual Studio Code, or sorry, in the RDLC layout of the report, we'll also have to add this as a column. So let's use add a column and we'll pass it so that we can then utilize it in the layout of our report. So if you have any questions around why I have added this or why you add fields into a data set, let me know and we'll talk about it whenever you that's the request. So to generate a layout file, at this point there's no layout file. Now we should do a default layout as RDLC and then a RDLC layout path as whatever the path is, which in our case at this moment is set to on the root folder. There's a folder called src and then there's a folder called hyperlink. Or it's simple, I'll just put it here. I don't mess up the path. Okay, this is the folder and this is the folder. So I'll just copy it from here as it is. Okay, paste it here as it is. Alright, and then the report layout file name is sdh item list .rdlc. So with this, as soon as I build the solution, which I'll do with the Control Shift B, B as Bombay, this will add a new file into my extension and you'll be able to see it. So let's do a Control Shift B and you see the RDLC file here. So let's open it externally so that you can see it and open the layout into your report builder, which is empty, but it also have the data set available, whatever we have chosen. Just to keep it simple and not wasting much time into it, let's use the wizard that is there and let's use these fields as it is. Okay, I'll drag it here and do a next and we'll do next and we'll do a finish. Now inventory is a numeric field and we have a format for that coming from nav. So we'll set up the format. Just to keep it simple, I'll remove all kind of fancy stuff from it and you can keep it if needed. That's up to you. Okay, or let's keep it for a while. It's not a report that you're looking for. Now let's come to the URL part. So now we want to add the URL on the item number field that's available on this report. So what we'll do is on the number column, we'll go to properties. In the properties, see if I can see this in. Alright, I'll choose right click and properties. And somewhere here, there should be a property. Okay, go to URL. So whenever someone clicks on it, it should go to a URL and the URL comes from the new field that we have created, which will hold the URL of the report. Hope so that makes sense. Let me close this. Okay, that got saved. Pretty simple report. Nothing fancy about it. Let me see, is mapping central learning? Yes. Let me publish it in there and we'll check the report called SDH item list. So that works. We'll see a little bit complex what do you call that, URL process by putting it on inventory field, because that's where you do certain kind of filtration before you generate the URL. Okay, taking some time over here for a foley that runs. So while that's happening, just remember that this report is available on our source control or GitHub, and you can always utilize it based on different folders or different topics that we have talked about. So there's a lot that's will be going into this one single repo. You can always refer it. It's available on the GitHub library. Okay. Okay. Might be doing something else which is not yet set. That's okay. Let me search for this. And item list is here. Okay. So at this point, let's do a preview and see what happens. Oh, okay. There's another message. It says it contains hyperlink and the enable hyperlink property has not been set for this report. That means I'm missing out some properties over here. Let's go back and let's look at the report number. And if you don't know, in your launch.json, you can also run a report now. So you can do a report and it will run that report directly next time when you load it. So what it said, there's a message that you are missing a property called enable hyperlink. So let's search for this. Enable hyperlinks as opposed to true. That way, the hyperlinks will be allowed on this particular report. We made that change called enable hyperlink, and using enable hyperlink, now when the report gets published, it should also run it because I've changed the launch.json, and that should load my business client where we can then check how the report looks like. While this is happening, let's think about the next part of the tutorial that we want to cover. Now, inventory, we all know, is a calculated field which have certain filters, and you can apply all the filters that you want while doing a drill down on or a hyperlink to the item ledger entry page. So while this is happening, and I don't think it should take that long of time. Let's wait for a while. Okay, it did pop up here. We should try to run that report directly. If everything goes well, we should be able to see the report over there. Okay, so the report is running. Chosen the path that we have, and we'll just do a preview. Hopefully, no errors now. Hmm. If you look at it, the layout doesn't look as fancy as you would build, which I'm pretty sure you guys can work on it, and girls can work on it. What we are doing is when you click, hover over your cursor only on the item number, you see these hyperlinks activated. When I click on it, it'll actually take me where the number is 19207S, and that's happening because we did the retain filter boolean or save filter boolean on it. So it opened that particular item 980S. Let's pick a random one, 1304. Should now open the SP from 1304 on my another tab in my business center. Now the rules remain same either on-prem or SaaS. If your URLs are set correctly on-prem on the service tier, you'll have no such problems even on-prem. The command will work as it is on-prem or SaaS. So let's try doing another mod into this report, and let's try to use item ledger entry URL. Let's use a item ledger entry URL. The text, we know the drill now, so we'll keep it simple, not have to waste much time into it. That's what I'll do. Okay, have to get this somehow. And then what we set here is this record reference of it. We'll also set a item ledger record ref. And then while doing this, we'll have to set, this is not the direct record. We'll also have to create a variable for item ledger entry. Okay, of type record, item ledger entry. And for the item ledger entry, okay, let's do a set range of item number from item dot number. So that way we'll be able, and you can apply other filters if you want. I'm just giving you an idea how you do that. Item ledger entry, you can find that. Then what you do, you begin and end with whatever it is. Okay, let's keep it in there. Okay, I know it doesn't like me right now. But what we are trying to do is we are trying to do the same thing here. But this time, the reference will be on this variable, and the data item will be item element. So that way, you'll get the record ID of that, and the same thing that we did here and apply the same thing here just to keep it consistent. And this time we'll pass this. Records have been filtered. Everything looks good. Now let's do the last part, which is this. Okay. What you are going to do? Okay. The client type remain default as it is. Company name default. For the page ID, I'll just change it to item directory reference. For the record reference, we'll also change it to this, and then we are doing the save filter. So remember that it need to open the item legend entries with a view with the item number filtered. Okay, okay, all looks good at this point. Let's, as we did last time, we'll also add this into our data set. So we will do another column. We'll call it this and pass this. So let's try to add that or append our layout with it so that it understands it. Okay, once we have it, let's go into inventory, table property, action, go to URL, and this time item legend entry URL. So it's as simple as to set a property in nav or BC. I'm pretty sure it does work on nav, just FYI. I don't know who's still on nav, but if you are still, then you can still utilize that. That's not a problem. At this point, let's save this and let's try to publish this. See what happens. That should load my client in a while, and we should be able to see two hyperlinks into the report, one pointing to the item number and the other pointing to item ledger entry only filtered with the item number. As I said, it's a code. You can append other filters if needed for your requirement or for your customer requirement. You're not just limited to setting an item number. If you have another flow filters that you would like to apply, you can do that. That's not a problem. Okay, with that being said, if everything goes well, should be good here. Okay, so here's the report. Let's do a quick close. So one, we have tested this that we can go there, but let's test this. And it's 49 from where this number is coming. If you look at the URL here, it remembers that it is have the filter of item number is whatever the number that we have given. I will remember that filter and apply it here. And then you can see how that total kind of turned up to. In the same way, you can go to any URL or any inventory field and allow you to open that or hyperlink to that particular page with the filters applied. So hope whoever asked that question answers this question. Before I let you go, let's do a quick recap what we have done and understand what are the minimum more important properties that we need to set on a report with URL or hyperlinks. The first thing that we need to remember that the enable hyperlink property on your RDLC layout, on your AL file is set. Second, what we did is we created two text variable, added them into dataset, and then to calculate the values of URL, we utilize the data type management code unit, which gives me a record ref that is an input needed to generate URL using the get URL command. In this, you need to set up the company name, the object that you would like to run, the object ID, which you do with the page management, and then at the end, it's important that you enable the source filter. Once you have set these all the URLs that you need, you just need to build your solution. Once the solution is built, you should open your RDLC file, and in the field that you would like to set, go to textbox properties. In the action tab, select the field that you have built for the URL. That way, system will remember and will navigate to that. This works on-prem or SaaS. Only thing that need to remember on on-prem that your service tier should have the client base URL set so that it can generate the rest of part of the URL. Hope you learned something new with this video. If you did, please share it so that others can also learn it. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions about these community questions that I'm doing, please let me know in the comments of this video. Do like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done it. And we'll see you next day, the next question. Thank you.